Our text today is sometimes known as the Beatitudes. It's a series of blessings that Jesus portrays to different people. In Luke's edition, we also get the added woes. Not just blessings, but woes about those who are on the opposite end of the spectrum. Unfortunately, I think we live in a time where the word blessed doesn't really mean all that much. The number of times I've seen on Facebook, the few times I've been on Instagram, or just news in general, the amount of people, let's say they win a prize, they have a child, they're able to go on a vacation, they're able to get that new phone, they're able to receive a good Christmas present, and then they get a nice hashtag blessed. Straight up, right there. Man, I'm so blessed. Look at all these good things I have. I'm truly blessed. But that's not the kind of blessing Jesus is talking about. If you read through that again, it's not the rich, it's not the full, it's not those who are blessed because they're able, hashtag blessed. My family and I get together and we laugh all the time. Oh man, I'm hashtag blessed. No. He says those who are hungry, those who are poor, those who are weeping, you are blessed. Jesus is talking of blessings in a way that doesn't match how we think of them today, or even back then. These people that he says are blessed seem cursed. But in the midst of it all, we have the Son of Man promising that in the middle of their trial, whether they be poor, hungry, weeping, hated, persecuted, in the middle of all that, they are blessed and they will be satisfied. They will receive their reward. The poor receive the kingdom of God. The hungry will be filled, and the weeping will get a chance to laugh. And then we get to the woe. Now, I don't know about you here, but I would not consider myself poor, nor would I ever consider myself hungry. Meg, who keeps track of our cupboards, can agree with me there. I love to laugh. Very rarely will you catch me crying instead of laughing. So does this mean I'm cursed? Does this mean we're cursed? I think there's a different way we can see the woe here. It's not the opposite of, blessed. Think of blessed as satisfied. It's a promise that you will be satisfied. So for the woes, it's not you're cursed. It's more, let's think about it this way. I have a friend, he now lives in South Carolina, but he and his college buddies had a phrase, and it goes, "That's a yikes for me, dog." Now, it sounds a little weird, that's a yikes for me, dog, but the reason they use it is if someone said something really outrageous, something not cool, something no one should ever say, nor should anyone ever support. If someone just says something truly putrid, you would say, "Oh, that's a yikes for me, dog." What you're saying is, "Nope, I don't agree with that," but it's a nicer way of saying, "I think you need to check yourself because what you just said is not okay." So think of this when Jesus says, woe. Think of him as being like, hey, to the rich, to the full, to the laughing, to the loved. That's going to be a yikes for me, dog. What he's saying is watch out. He's not saying you're cursed because you have a roof over your head, food to eat. What he's saying is watch out that what you have and what you've accumulated does not become your only reward here on earth. In other words, don't let the things of this world define who you are. Don't let the money in your bank account the clothes on your back, the friends, family, and other things you have. Don't let them define you and make the decisions for you. Because you'll receive your reward in this life. That's the whole point of this Thanksgiving is thanks living. This idea of understanding that we give out of thanks. Why do we give out of thanks? Why do we, why are there things like tithing? Why do we have a pledge to give to the church or to give to charity? From a Christian perspective, we give out of thanks so that we can curb the urge to let our possessions control us. When we give to good causes, when we give to the church, it's our stance saying these possessions will not define me. Instead, I will let them be used to the glory of God to help spread the gospel. When we live out of thanks, like Jesus puts in verses 27 to 31, we live by that golden rule. We live in a way that seems unfit to love our enemies and do good to those who hate you. It seems unrealistic, but it can be done when we truly take into account that the most important possession, our very lives, our very breath, has been taken care of by God through Jesus Christ on the cross. When we can live out in understanding that the most important possession has been taken care of by Jesus, that's when we can begin thanks living. And that living is something I want to talk about because that's what people close to you will remember. I'm going to a visitation later today. I know a couple other people here have a funeral or have recently been to a funeral. It's interesting to think about that. When you think about those who have died, do you remember how much money was in their bank account? Do you remember how big their house was? Do you remember how awesome and cool their car was? Do you remember what their exact job was? Or do you remember how they lived? What's more important? I would go as far to say that when we think about our loved ones, when I think about my loved ones who passed away, I don't think their job or what they had was as important as the time I got to spend with them and the time I got to witness to how they lived their lives. Not just with me, but with the world. When you're sharing stories about loved ones, you don't talk about like, man, think about that job they had. No, you talk about the funny, fun, sad experiences you've had with that person. So, that's for the saints in heaven. That's for the church in heaven. When we think about our loved ones, we do think, I will go as far as say that I think we think about how they lived and how we interacted with them. And it's not any different than with us sitting here today. Yes, they may be in the church in heaven, but we are the church on earth. We are the living saints today here on All Saints' Day. And we're called to see and check and question, how do we want to live our lives? Do we want to be able at the end of our life to know and say that we did live? One of Meg and I's favorite songs is literally called I Lived. It's by One Republic. But that's not the version we like. We like the version, it's by a married couple, Caleb and Kelsey. They do an acoustic cover of it. But the song I Lived is beautiful because whether it's a lover, a friend, a parent, it's a song to another person saying, I hope all of these things for you. I hope that you fall in love and I hope it hurts. Because the only way you can know it hurts is if you truly gave it all you have. I hope you don't suffer, but I hope you take the pain. And I hope when that moment comes, you can say, I did it all. It's this hope that at the end of your life, you can say, I lived. I lived a life worth living. I'd live it again if I could. But to not sit idly by and watch life go by, but to really live life, experience life. And so in honor of those lyrics, I rewrote them a little bit. As shepherd of the flock known as Augustana Evangelical Church, I want to tell you about the hopes I have for this church on earth, this very church here, for each one of us. These are the hopes I have. I hope when you take that jump of faith, you don't fear the fall. I hope when the crowd of saints screams out, they're screaming your name. I hope if everybody runs from their faith, you choose to stay. I do hope that you fall in love and it hurts so bad, because the only way you can know is if you give it all you have. And I hope that you don't suffer, but take the pain. And I hope when the moment comes, you'll say, I did it all. I owned every second that this world could give. I saw so many places that the things that I did, and with every broken bone and every broken heart, I swear I lived for Him, for Jesus. I hope for God's sake, you spend your days, but they all add up. And when the sun goes down, I hope you can raise your cup. I wish that I could witness to all your joy and all your pain, but until my moment comes, until your moment comes, I hope you'll say I did it all. I owned every second that this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. With every broken bone, I swear I lived for Him, for Jesus. Whatever you want to do, Jesus will be here right next to you. No matter what comes your way, I know you'll be okay, because Christ lives in, with, and for you, just as Christ lives within and for the whole church, not just the church on earth, but the church in heaven. And so again, when the final moment comes and each one of us finds ourselves resting eternally in God, I hope each and every one of us can say, I did it all. I did it all. I owned every second this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. And with every broken bone, I swear I lived for Him, for Jesus. Amen.